Synopsis! Ha! What up, you guys? It's Blackwing 2040. Welcome back to another video, and today's review is going to be on 2001's Hyakuju Sentai Gaoranger, which is also the 25th anniversary of Super Sentai. Now, before I get on the review, I want to thank you guys so much for your support and love throughout these videos. If you want to see me react to these shows live, make sure you're following me on my Twitch page. The link to my Twitch is in the description below. So just want to get that out of the way for you guys to see me react to those shows live. Now, with that out of the way, let's get on with the show. So, Gaoranger premiered in 2001, the 25th anniversary season of Super Sentai, and I gotta say, the show itself, it's very mid. It's very mid. I've watched the show 3 times already, and every single time I've watched it, I just feel like my opinion has not changed, not even the slightest at all. So before I even get on to like my or just my issues with the show, let's talk about the synopsis. So the synopsis goes a little something like this. 1,000 years ago, a war raged between humans and the demonic orc race. With the help of power animals, the ancient Gao warriors were able to defeat the orcs' leader, Hyakuju, and seal the orcs. Today, the orcs have begun to revive, and 5 warriors have been chosen by the power animals. They must abandon their current lives, and become the new generations of Gaorangers to protect the earth. So that's the basic synopsis of Gaoranger as a whole. Now, like I always do, we got to talk about the theme song. I like this theme song. Not a lot of people say they like it. I don't understand the problem, but the feel of this theme song, it's very primal, it's aggressive, it's just so Gao. It basically gives you that feeling of what these Rangers are all about and the full-on aspect jungle animal theme of the show. So I like the theme song. I really do. Now, next thing I want to talk about is the suits. These suits. It may be my nostalgia for Wild Force talking, but I really, really, really do like these suits. Love these suits for that matter. First of all, the helmets are probably like my favorite part of the suits. Just the animal design of the suits. You have the visor right here at the top, and then you have the animal aesthetic of whatever animal it is. Lion, eagle, shark, tiger, bison, wolf. The design of the helmets look magnificent. I love them. Love them too. And also with the suits itself, I find it interesting how each of the Rangers have a specific line going down the chest of the suit. You have their animal logo on the left side, which is basically where their heart is, which is awesome. And also, like, it's not really like a number designation on the suit, but like they never really go into detail about that, which is fine. But like each of them have like a specific number of stripe on their suits. Like red has 5, yellow has 4, and then so on and so forth. The stripe decrease, and then silver has 6, which of course designation of a 6 Ranger, of course. But I really do love these suits. I really do. So now let's talk about these Rangers. But first thing I want to talk about these Rangers though, these guys don't address themselves by their character names throughout the not even as a team. They just call themselves by their color, not by their names. They don't start calling each other by their real names until the very end of the show. And I'm just like, what is your name again? What was his name? What was her name? Like, even if it comes to a point where it's a focus episode on them, their name would be brought up. Fine. But like throughout the duration of the show, they do not call each other by their real names. And I don't like it. I'm like, what is going on here? Like, why do I want to just label these guys as just their color designation of the entire show? I want to know what their names are. That's just one of the gripes that I have. That's just one. But let's start breaking down these Rangers. Starting off with Gao Red Hyakuju. Hyakuju, he is a veterinarian, so he specializes in helping animals. His characteristics as a Red Ranger are very interesting. He definitely is gung-ho on basically trying to be the very best leader that he possibly can. And the good thing about him is, like, his teammates pretty much, build off of him. So his energy and his excitement on trying to save the world, defeat the orgs, and protect all life on the planet it basically almost draws off of him. So it's like if the leader is strong, then the whole team is strong, and I like that about him. He has his silly moments, a few silly moments, but he's still cool. I still like his character. I feel like he's an underrated Red Ranger, if I would say. Now the next character, Gaku, aka Gao Yellow. Gao Yellow was originally the leader of the Gaorangers before Red showed up, and also yes, Gao Yellow is a male here. So he is very standoffish to Kakeru when he shows up, but over time, the camaraderie between Red and Yellow definitely starts to develop. The jealousy dissipates. He sees him as a comrade, and Gaku has some moments where he would speak in English at random moments. It's hilarious. I find that pretty hilarious. But he doesn't really get that much development per se. Before he became a Gaoranger, he was a fighter pilot. So that's pretty much all of his background. And he was the first Gaoranger to get picked. So before the team even got formed, their mentor, who I'm going to get to later on, was basically seeking them out one by one. So he was the first to get chosen. And like I said, he doesn't do much. And I think he's all right. He's cool. But I just wish, again, not much development from him. The next is Kai, Gao Blue. He was the third Gaoranger to join the team. He's also he's the second youngest on the team. He's not really my favorite character, or not even one of the best Blue Rangers I've seen in Sentai in general. I find him pretty annoying, per se, but he can just be he's just there. That's what majority of the storylines for these guys are. He's just there. And before he joined the Gaorangers, he was going to be a pro bowler until he decided, he had to, become a ranger. And that's really all I can say about him. Not much to say about him and Gal Black have this constant phrase, never give up. They say that throughout the entire show, him and Gal Black. And speaking of Gal Black, his name is Sotaro. Blue and Black are basically like a package deal. They're like, brothers in arms. And of course, I feel like those two are like the comedic duo of the Ranger teams. So he's like a softie, I could say. He does have one focus episode that I really liked, but after the show ended, they never went deeper into a little bit of a backstory that he had. They didn't go that much deeper after the show ended. That's mainly my problem that I have with the show. Once I finish talking about the Rangers, I'll explain why. But yeah, Black, softy at heart, but again, not much. And then we move to Sae, aka Gal White. She's the youngest of the team, the only girl on the team as well. I believe she was the second. She had to be the second Ranger to get picked to join the team. And again, she's just the girl. That's it. She doesn't get much. She does not get much. She does have her moments where she does like flare up and get annoyed from time to time and acts like a brat as well. But again, there's nothing much else for her in this. And now we move on to the last Gaoranger, Shirogane, aka Gal Silver. Probably the best character in the entire team. This is the only person that goes through development. Now, here's what I mean. So Shirogane is basically a man out of time. He was originally part of the original Gaorangers from 1,000 years ago. When the orcs were attacking, he found a cursed wolf mask, and he basically decided to use that power to defeat the evil orcs back in the olden times. But after he defeated the orcs, he got cursed and got turned into a Duke orc named Ruki, which I'm going to get to later on. But I love the arc that Shirogane goes through. From being cursed and trapped in a Duke orc's body to getting freed by the Gaorangers of the present, and then having to deal with that, concern of like, will they forgive me for what I've done? I have this, PTSD that I'm dealing with. Like, I tried to destroy you guys and you guys still want me to join your team. And then to the point where his past comes back to haunt him, where Ruki comes back and he has to face him himself. Basically, he has to fight his inner demons in person. Shirogane is the best character in the entire show, bar none. And that's my problem. It's just like, This guy gets all the development while the other 5, they don't get nothing. I don't like that. Why is that the case with these guys? I don't understand. Ugh. All right, let's move on to the supporting characters. So you have the team's mentor, Tetom. She is the shaman of the Gaorangers. She basically gives them information of the past of how the Gaorangers from 1,000 years ago defeated the orcs. She gives them information on all the power animals, all the artifacts that they have to find. Sometimes she can be very silly. She's not one of the best mentors. She can be ditzy at times as well. Not all the time, but at times. Just at times. But she's all right. That's really all I can say. She's all right. Now, the next character is Gal God. Now, Gal God is basically the god of all the power animals. He's basically, you look at him, he's a Megazord himself. And what's interesting is him and Shirogane were friends in the past, but he got killed by the orcs. So him coming into the present, he comes into the present in the form of a boy named Futaro. So he has a human form. So this whole arc of when he comes around, I feel like when he shows up in the show, when Futaro shows up, the show kind of like drags on too much. So Futaro gets kind of like, I don't want to say brainwashed, but he gets set up by the orcs to tell him that like humans have been destroying the earth, not the orcs. But then he realizes that I don't trust orcs as just as much I don't trust humans. And then he sends the power animals back to the animarium. And then when the Rangers are left helpless, he tells them like, this was just a test. I'm like, what the heck? You were basically just testing them the whole time? My gosh. So Gal God, he's a piece of work. That's all I can say. He's a real piece of work. All right, now let's get to these villains. The first villain I want to talk about is Suit Suit. She is the orc sorceress, and she's the one that makes the orcs grow. And actually, let's talk about her partner in crime, Yabaiba. So these two are inseparable. They are comedic relief, both of them. They're incredibly hilarious. They have their moments. They're completely inseparable. Like when one's around, they're both around. And one thing about these two, they always want to try to impress the org general that they have at their command. So Suit always is the one that makes the orgs grow bigger. Yabaiba, he is basically a master of blades, and he kind of has a rivalry. Yabaiba has a rivalry with Gao Yellow, and Suit has a rivalry with Gao White because Sae is always calling Suit very old or like a grandma or old lady. So that's very interesting. So now we go to the first org general, Shuten. Shuten is very aggressive. He is all about really just destroying the earth, causing havoc, and just making the humans suffer. And I feel like he was a force to be reckoned with. I feel like he was probably like my favorite out of the orc generals. One of the best. And when he got killed off, we move on to the next orc general, who is Ura. Now, Ura, I feel like I don't want to say he overstayed his welcome, but he was also a force to be reckoned with, and I feel like the Gaorangers underestimated him from time to time. So, Ura is the one that reawakened Ruki, who basically, again, when Shirogane was cursed, and he basically used Ruki as a pawn to destroy the Gaorangers, and also he wanted to gain access to a power known as the 1,000-year evil. So anytime the Rangers defeated a monster that was powered up by this specific power source, that source would get stronger and stronger. And when it was strong enough, Ura took that power, got himself an upgrade, and he killed 4 of the Rangers. You want to know which 4 it was? Yellow, blue, black, and white. Those 4 got like dead. And that was got to be one of the most brutal episodes of Gaoranger or even Sentai in general that I've ever seen. I'm just like, I've never seen more than half of the Ranger team get murdered on the battlefield. That was insane. But again, I like his power-up form. His powered-up form looks really, really cool. Now, the next org general is Rasetsu. I don't like this guy. I don't. I feel like this is the character I feel like he overstayed his welcome. Basically, anytime the Ranger showed up, he always kept calling the Rangers, "Oh, the multicolored dumplings," and he's always just obsessed of having just a good meal. That's basically what his obsession was. But I feel like I did not like Rasetsu at all. I couldn't stand him. It's just, of course, he wants to make the orcs, make the humans suffer, but and also using his plan to brainwash Gal God also did not fall through. But yeah, I just didn't really like Rasetsu at all. Now I want to talk about Ruki. When Ruki came onto the scene, I know Ruki's a cursed Duke Org of Shirogane, but man, when Ruki came onto the scene, he was putting in that work, defeating the Gaorangers episode after episode after episode. You have never seen heroes take that many L's back to back to back. It was insane from his debut to him showing the Gaorangers like, oh, you got Zords? I got Zords of my own. Oh, you got a Megazord? I got a Megazord of my own. He was putting in that work nonstop. And so when he came back and Shirogane had to face him one-on-one, it was like a full circle moment between those two. And I loved it. Ruki is definitely up there as one of the best org generals, or just generals, period. He's a badass, straight up. Love his character. Now, these next characters I want to talk about, they don't appear in the show, but they do appear in the Gaoranger movie. So this was also around the point where Sentai does summer movies. And they're basically like exactly the same runtime of a Sentai episode. So I'm going to be talking about the Org brothers. You have Zeus Org, Poseidon Org, and Hades Org. These guys are movie exclusive to Gaoranger. I like their design. And a fun fact about these three guys, these suits, monster suits, they were originally going to be used in the Wild Force Time Force team up reinforcements for the future, but they got destroyed in a fire, and so which is why we got the Mute Orcs instead. I mean, I'm okay with that we got the Mute Orcs. Mute Orcs are still great as a whole, but the fact if we could have gotten these suits for the monsters in that team up, I would have been cool with it too. But I do like the design of these guys and them being like a representation of the big three Greek gods. It's really cool, really cool. And again, movie exclusive villains, of course, like all movie exclusive villains, the one-time appearance, and you never see them again. But they're still great though. Poseidon Org is basically a drunk. Zeus Org, of course, is the leader, and Hades Org is pretty much the fighter of all three of them. And the last character I want to talk about is Senki, who is basically the king of all the orgs. And also, when you look at Senki, he's basically a fusion of all three generals, Shuten, Ura, and Rasetsu. And also, when you look at his arms are basically like designed to look like the heads of Yabaiba and Sutsut. He doesn't really do much. He just shows up in the last two episodes, just to be that final boss. His persona oozes final boss energy, but he doesn't really do much. That's about it. He's just there to be like, okay, I'm the final villain that the Rangers have to face. What else you got? He kills the power animals. Of course, the power animals come back. And of course, good triumphs over evil. And that's the end of Senki. Nothing much. There's nothing much to do. And that's pretty much all of Gaoranger, guys. Now, like I said, this show is very arc focused. And I can see that. Each general has like an arc. You have the arc that you have the Rangers fight Shuten, the arc in the middle where they deal with Ura, the third arc where they have to deal with Rasetsu, and then you have the final arc dealing with all three generals coming back and then having to fight Senki in their end game. That's about it. I like how the episodes are bracketed, which is fine, but my main issue is none of the Rangers except for Silver gets any development. The fact that most of these characters feel one note from beginning all the way to the end bugs me. So, the show itself, my rating, the show is mid. I would say it's trash, but it still has its raw moments. It's mid just to say the least, it's mid. My main issue, I just wish the other Rangers got the development, not just one Ranger, and I wish these characters didn't stay one note throughout the entire show. But like I said, mid-season, it's the 25th anniversary of Super Sentai. So, of course, with an anniversary, you got to have an anniversary team up. So, they do have an anniversary team up, which I will review later. But that's my review of Hyakuju Sentai Gaoranger. In the comment section below, what did you think of Gaoranger? Did you think it was good? Do you think it was bad? Are you in between? Let me know in the comment section below. And as always, folks, I appreciate you guys watching. And stay tuned for the next review, of course, which will be Gaoranger versus Super Sentai. But also stay tuned for the next Kamen Rider review for Superhero Time 2001, Kamen Rider Agito, which is kind of like an indirect sequel to Kuga. And I'm actually looking forward to rewatching Agito again, because I've only seen it once. I didn't really like it, but I want to see if my opinion has changed with this show. But anyway, guys, I appreciate you guys watching. As always, I am Vengeance. I'm Darkness. I am Blackwing. Stay golden.